Welcome everyone. Today we celebrate ERUA Day. Warm welcome from Poland to everybody who were able to join our online conference, and I also would like to welcome people who gathered here at SWPS in Warsaw. And I would like to welcome you to a talk which I hope will help you in everyday career. My name is Alicja Kotłowska, and today I want to talk about your career and the great reskilling revolution. The revolution that is taking place right now at your university, in your workplace, everywhere. The work is changing. And work is something I'm very passionate about. I'm doing research about labor market, I'm a university lecturer, and I'm mentoring managers, helping them to develop the career. And I have to tell you that when I was writing my recent book about work, I talked to many people, many workers, many employees, and one question kept coming back to me over and over again. And this question is it still possible to plan a career today when the job market is changing so rapidly and dynamically? And indeed, this is a very difficult question. Because at the moment we are going through a number of changes on the labor market. We are going through digital transition, green revolution, the demography is shifting, and also we are experiencing economic uncertainties from time to time. So in that context, another question appears very often when I talk to employees. What should we learn? If the job market is changing so rapidly, what should we learn? And it's really difficult to decide, because we know, for example, from the World Economic Forum data, that about 40% of our skills will have to be updated. So it's very difficult to say what should we learn, because we don't even know what the next big skill, which will guarantee a successful career, will be in 10 years' time. And in fact, when you look at the skills, there is a variety of options and more difficult to choose from those options. So people are asking, should I now focus on AI skills? Should I now master all the AI tools? Should I become an expert on Perplexity, Gemini, and OpenAI? Or perhaps there is a different focus. Perhaps I should focus on sectors where the job will be guaranteed. Traditional sectors like, for example, healthcare, because we will always need healthcare. Or maybe we should focus developing our skills on something different and learn how to work with robots, because there are more and more robots on the job market. Or maybe, quite opposite, maybe we should focus on developing physical skills, because maybe this is something where the machines cannot replace us. So you can see that options are endless, and that is why the job market today is very complex. It's really difficult to navigate and plan your career. But still, there is hope, and today I want to talk about 3 ideas, and I hope these ideas will help you in your career development. First, I want to talk about a mosaic career. Second, I want to talk about a new approach in recruitment which is called skills first. And lastly, I want to talk about what I call the super weapon, 2 skills which, in my opinion, will give you an advantage in your career. So if you're interested, please stay with us. But first, I want to take you back in time to London. In 1900, imagine that in London there were 300,000 working horses, because the whole transport sector was based on horse-driven vehicles. And then the Industrial Revolution came, and then the motor vehicle appeared, and suddenly we had only 30,000 working horses in London. Imagine, in the space of only 30 years, so many jobs disappeared. Imagine how it felt like to see your job disappeared. But there is some good news. Even though many jobs at the time disappeared, at the same time there were new jobs appearing. And these new jobs resulted from the simple fact that workers were needed in production, in car maintenance, bus drivers, taxi drivers were needed, roads need to be built, the petrol sector exploded, and also you had new jobs in car sales, insurance sales, so many new jobs. So this is a hopeful scenario for us. And you may wonder, why do we need a history lesson today? Well, we need it because we can learn from it. Every technological revolution created technological unemployment. So every time there is new technology shift, we see many jobs disappearing and many jobs appearing. And the question for you is, where do you see yourself in this great reskilling revolution? Are you ready to gain new skills? Because obviously you don't want to end up like this horse carriage driver who is just sitting and waiting and hoping that the job market will not change. It will change. And the key question is, are you ready to gain new skills in order to succeed in the new job market? And that is why I want to propose the first idea in this talk, the idea of a mosaic career. So first let me tell you about my conversations with different employees, workers, and students. I feel that very often they start feeling uncomfortable when they realize one uncomfortable truth, that a career for a lifetime is no longer guaranteed. The career for a lifetime was a path that our parents followed. You chose first your field of study, your education, then you got a job, one in your lifetime very often, and then you progressed in your career, like step by step. And then after 40 years, you retired. But today, the job market is changing so rapidly that people on average have not one job in a lifetime, but 12 jobs in a lifetime. And we know from research that people have 3 careers in a lifetime, not 1 career in a lifetime. So in the past, when you gain new skills and education, these skills could be used at the job market for about 10 years or maybe 20 years. But now, the new skills that you are learning, they will allow you to stay relevant and employable on the job market only for about 5 years. So this really shows how important it is to learn all the time, to learn on a continuous basis. And I have to tell you that Gen Z knows this better than any other generation. You can see the data from the latest reports from Deloitte, which indicates that Gen Z is learning new skills to advance their careers on a weekly basis. And this is exactly what should happen. And well done, Gen Z. You are doing very well, and I think other generations also should follow your lead. So this continuous learning, this brings us to this concept of a mosaic career, where we are not just having one job for a lifetime, but we try to identify our core capabilities and our professional identity. And then we build around it different skills, different job experiences. In mosaic career, job switching is the new normal. Now, how could this work in practice? I think it would be best to hear a story from Anna, who is following a mosaic career. So let's listen.
Hi, I'm Anna, and I'd like to tell you a story about my career. I started in a marketing agency. That's where I learned branding, digital communication, and how campaigns really work. Then I moved to an NGO. My family and friends were worried, asking, "Why don't you stay in one sector and build a stable career?" But in NGO, I learned to communicate purpose, not just products. So this was very useful. Later, I became a freelancer. I supported small e-commerce brands and improved my project management skills. I also took online courses in digital marketing. At the same time, I launched a YouTube channel about marketing and AI. It became my innovation lab. I could become more creative. After that, I joined a fintech startup in growth marketing, and suddenly everything connected. Then I stepped into my current role, head of marketing and innovation in a retail brand going through digital transformation. That's my mosaic career, not a straight line in one company, in one sector. I have built a portfolio of skills with different jobs and different sectors, but with marketing always in the center. And I was always open to learning new skills.
So that's the mosaic career for you. Example from Anna, she found her core capabilities as marketing, and she built around different set of skills, training, and experiences in different sectors. For each of you, this capability will be different. Your core professional identity will be different. The most important thing in Mosaic Career is that when you are changing jobs, it cannot be random selection of jobs, of skills. You have to create a coherent professional profile, and that's what is quite challenging. But don't be afraid of switching jobs and looking for new opportunities in different sectors. And I have to tell you, when I work with managers in my mentoring sessions, very often I find that they are just fixated on one sector because they've been working on one sector all their life. And that is why I want to present to you the second idea of this talk, which is the skills-first approach. In the skills-first approach, we are not focusing simply on job titles, we are focusing on the skills that you can have. And now I want you to listen to the story from Adam. This is a story based on real experience of a manager that I mentored, and he was a guy who was convinced that he can only work in logistics. But we adapted this new approach, skills-first approach, and look what we came up with.
Hello, my name is Adam. For more than a decade, I worked in logistics, and I believed that this one label, logistics manager, defined my whole life. Whenever I looked for a new job, I kept repeating the same lines in my head. I don't have marketing experience. I don't have sales experience. I am from logistics. But during a mentoring session with Alicja, we looked at what I actually did in my work. And suddenly a different version of me appeared. I realized that I had built an excellent track record in negotiating really challenging contracts. I was the one who resolved conflicts with suppliers. I was the one closing deals under pressure. These weren't logistics skills. These were core, transferable skills, the kind that aren't tied to any single industry. When I adopted the skills-first approach, everything changed. Instead of asking, what job title had in my past, I began asking, how can I use my skills in different sectors? And what happened next surprised me. Within this new approach, I received an offer from a marketing agency, not to manage warehouses, but to negotiate strategic partnerships and lead high-value commercial contracts. That is when I understood the power of shifting from job titles to skills. I just had to change how I see myself.
And I do hope that you can also change the way you see yourself, not through the job titles, but you can build career looking at your skills, at what you can actually do. And now, if you are looking for a new job or you are considering searching a new job, I have 5 pieces of advice for you if you want to adopt the skills-first approach. So the first advice is define your skill set. I have to tell you that very often when I talk to managers and ask them about their job titles in their career, they tell me all the job titles they had in the past. But when I ask them about the skills they actually had or developed, well, maybe they can list one. And it's like with Adam, he wasn't even aware that he was such a great negotiator. So define your skill set. Second advice, rewrite your CV. Your CV should not be just a list of past jobs, job titles, and the companies that you worked for. Make a story showing what kind of skills you learned on each job and what kind of problems you were able to solve for each employer. Third advice, while reading job adverts, do not fixate on job titles. Read the full job description and analyze what skills do they actually require. And then ask yourself, do I have those skills? And if you don't, ask yourself again, how quickly can I learn them? So don't fixate on the job titles. And the fourth advice is stop searching for the new jobs which are very similar to the jobs that you already had in the past. This is a very popular thing that people do. They really do not look beyond the sector they've been working in. And lastly, reframe your story. Recruiters, they really want to know what you can actually do. They want to learn about your skills. And you should also demonstrate that you can learn all the time new skills. So going back to Adam, the guy who thought that he's only from logistics, but actually we discovered that he's also a great negotiator. This is something that I encourage you to do, to look beyond the job role and titles, and you will see that the new career pathways will open in front of you. Now I hope that you've seen that skills development is absolutely crucial, absolutely important for your career development. But obviously it is difficult to decide which skills we should focus on. And when I'm talking to students in my university work, I have to tell you that very often I find students who are confused, who are not sure about the direction of their career. And I want you to hear the story from Kate. And her reflection is like a summary, like a compilation of many conversations I had with students who are asking the same question: what should I learn?
Hi, I'm Kate, and to be honest, I'm a little overwhelmed. Maybe you feel the same. I graduated with a diploma in linguistics, excited to work with languages, translations, but almost the moment I finished university, everything changed. Automatic translators got better and better. Suddenly, the jobs I had prepared for disappeared, or they paid so little that it felt impossible to build a future. So I tried again. I took a professional course in graphic design, a new direction, new skills, a fresh start. But then design tools changed too. AI began generating layouts, logos, entire campaigns in seconds. Once again, I felt like the ground was moving under my feet. And yes, I want to learn, I want to grow. But what should I learn? 5 years ago, everyone talked about coding, social media marketing, e-commerce. Those were the must-have skills, the golden path to a good job. But now when I scroll through job ads, I see titles that didn't even exist back then. Prompt engineer, cybersecurity expert, recycling designer, ESG auditor. It feels like the world is inventing new careers faster than I can update my CV. And that's what confuses me, and sometimes scares me. How do you build a stable life in a job market that keeps changing? Some days, I feel like I am always starting from zero, like I'm chasing a moving target, like I'm never enough, because the world is always one step ahead.
This is the situation that many young people entering the job market are experiencing right now. And I have to tell you, it's not easy, because in the European Union, even though the unemployment rate for general population is 6%, the unemployment rate for people under 25 is 15%. So at the moment, there are nearly 3 million young people under 25 who are looking for a job and they cannot find a job. And very often they are changing their field of studies, they are learning new skills, hoping for the best, hoping they will define their career, and it's not easy. So today I would like to move to the third part of this talk, which is about showing you the skills which I think are very useful, because I'm sure that you already know the list of skills presented for many years now by the World Economic Forum and other government agencies. So I'm sure you've heard about critical thinking, digital literacy, problem solving, and technical skills. But I want to talk about two skills which are not on those lists. And I truly believe from my professional experience is that these two skills will give you advantage of the job market right now. The first skill I call the human amplification skill, and the second one I call the career decluttering skill. So let me tell you what it means. Let's start with the human decluttering. Let's start with human amplification skill. For centuries, we humans used to work with our brain, with our muscles, and also with physical tools that we developed to help our work. But today we've got additional support. We've got mental tools that help our thinking. And this is something that Professor Thomas Malone from MIT was writing about many years ago in his book Superminds, where he really was hoping that we can create incredible hybrid humans working with machines and enhancing our mental abilities. And this reality is happening right now. We are not alone anymore on the job market. And I'm not saying like we are not alone because the aliens are coming from space and helping to do our job. We are not alone because there are AI tools, there are intelligent machines around us, and as we speak, we can delegate many tasks to AI. So the human amplification skill is about your ability to create a better version of yourself and enhance what you already do. So if you're doing research using AI, you can accelerate your speed. If you're doing strategy using AI, you can create better data to take decision on. So it is about using technology to help you become a better version of yourself. And I have to tell you that working with managers, preparing them for interviews today, I hear that more and more often there is a new question that comes up during the interview. And I would like you to get ready, because maybe not today, maybe not next month, but maybe in your next job interviews in the near future you might be asked the question, the key question, which is about, can you work with intelligent machines? So I want you to hear to a short simulation of an interview conducted by an AI recruiter, which again is another practice that we see becoming more and more popular.
Hello, I am your AI interviewer, and I would like to ask you the kinds of questions that you might expect at your next interview. So let me begin with a question. How do you work with intelligent machines? I am not looking for a complicated technical answer. I am looking for evidence that you can collaborate with automation, delegate tasks to AI, and use technology to amplify your own capabilities. Because workers who can partner with AI, they work faster, they make fewer mistakes, and most importantly, they demonstrate that they can learn new things quickly. Let me ask you another question. What does your AI toolkit look like? Every professional today needs a set of digital tools for writing, analysis, research, design, planning, or automation. Your toolkit tells me not only what you can do, but also how adaptable you are. If your tools evolve every year, it shows that you evolve every year, and that matters more than ever. And final question, do you have your own AI agent? And what can it do? Many people already use personal AI assistants that summarize information, generate ideas, monitor data, automate workflows, or prepare documents. This is the new reality of recruitment. Companies are not just hiring employees. They are hiring human-machine teams. They want people who know how to extend that thinking through technology.
Okay, so there is an important question for you to consider. Do you have an AI agent? And I'm sure many of you already have an agent. And if you don't panic, because you can simply find on the internet many sources where you can create your agent. And you really should start doing this, because on your next interview, this might be the question that will come up. What is your agent doing? What kind of tasks do you delegate to this AI agent? And how do you monitor the work of this agent? So the good news is that you don't need to have skills in computer sciences. The AI tools are accessible, less expensive every day, and they are easy to learn. So this is the human amplification skill. Remember, you are not alone. You do not have to do all the hard work yourself. The choice is yours. You can master the human amplification skills and become a more enhanced, better version of yourself. And now I want to move to the second skill, which I call career decluttering skill. We all live in a very busy world. The marketplace, the job market is very crowded. There is noise. There are so many options, so many job offers, not only on our local market, but also on the global market where they recruit for remote working. There are new tools, new apps, new skills that you should learn. And it is overwhelming. And the paradox is that if we have more options, at some point we are happy, but then we are actually tired and exhausted with all this big choice. And this is also what happened in your career. And that is why I would like to tell you about very useful philosophy, that less is more. This is something that I heard many years ago when I was a student at Oxford University, and I was so excited with so many options, so many activities I can take, so many courses and training I can sign up for. And then my supervisor stopped me. You have to do less, because by doing less, you will achieve more. And at first, I didn't understand it, but after years of working, I know this is absolutely true, especially today in the world where we are bombarded with new information, with new options, and we are really lost when we look at, okay, what kind of skills should I really focus on? So focusing on less means that you are decluttering your career from activities which maybe are interesting, maybe they give you some joy, but they are not actually advancing your career. So I have to also tell you about where I got this idea about decluttering. Perhaps you heard about Marie Kondo, a Japanese woman who is a best-selling author of books, and she's a great expert on decluttering our homes. Because unfortunately, because of this overload and consumerism, we have too many objects in our homes, and this is not creating a friendly environment. So she's teaching people how to make a nice environment from chaos. And I got this idea that in our career, sometimes this is also what is happening. We've got like chaos. We are attending too many training courses, conferences, and we think that more is better. But decluttering is about remembering that actually doing less is better, because then you have more time to engage on a deeper level. And what we often forget, that the career choices are not only these big choices, when I take a new job or when I quit the old job. Every day in our working life, we are making small career choices. We choose which people we want to work with. Some of them will be mentors, and some of them would be able to advance our careers, but not everyone. Again, the tools you choose to work with. Do you stay with old-fashioned, the old tools that you feel familiar with, or do you invest and learn new skills? Because the tools you use in your work will define your workflow. And also the problems you work on. Sometimes we stay with safe problems, repetitive tasks, and we are afraid of new, risky, challenging problems. But ask yourself, every time you make this kind of decision, is it something that will advance my career, or is it something that actually is a waste of my time, is something which is decluttering career? I don't need more of the same projects. I don't need more of the same training. I need something that is meaningful and something that will really, truly transform my career. So decluttering is about doing less, achieving more, and doing smarter choices. So this is the end of this talk, and I really believe that even though it's really challenging to have a success on today's market, which is changing all the time, I do believe that you can plan your career. You should design your career. Don't wait for the employers to change your career. This is your responsibility. And my advice is not only to learn new skills, which are absolutely crucial, but also to have courage to look for jobs where you haven't looked before. And if you would like to get in touch, I would really like talking about work, about career, so please you can contact me. And I wish you all the best and all successes in your professional career. Thank you very much.